Well, I love all genres of music, but country music for me was the music that I really wanted to write to because it's very direct. They tell very clear stories. Pink Floyd, one of my favorite bands, a lot of the lyrics are metaphor. Whereas when you hear Johnny Cash sing A Boy Named Sue, there's no mistaking what it's about. And the common denominator for me between acting and music is storytelling. I love getting together with a group of actors and a director and figuring out how is the best way we think to tell a story. Music for me is very similar. I get together with my band. I have a song that I've written, which is a story, and how do we best present that? And so country music as a genre and country rock, just kind of we found each other because it was the way I like to write.
And you certainly incorporate a lot of that rock feel. Do you sort of let yourself go when you're on stage? Do you really get into the music as you're playing it, or are you very conscious of how you're presenting it?
Very much so. You know, and that wasn't a very comfortable thing at first. You know, as an actor and as a person, I spent 30 years trying to keep most of my life private. And then I find myself standing in front of 500 strangers, and these songs are very personal. They're from my life. And I'm telling very intimate parts of my life. And so that required an adjustment. As an actor, I've always had a character that has separated myself from the audience. As a singer and a songwriter, I don't. And once I kind of accepted that and started telling the stories of this is where I was at when I wrote this song and this is what I was going through and maybe you have a similar experience, that's when it became really fun. And it was like a giant weight was lifted off of my shoulders. It really was one of the most freeing experiences I've ever had. And then I've got what I consider to be an incredibly special band, really great players. And it's impossible, for me at least, to play with them and not be moved by what they're doing as well. So,
how do you decide which of those stories you want to tell? Because it's very exposing. Once it's out there, it's out there.
You know, the songs, I'm not the kind of person who wakes up at 9 o'clock, puts on the kettle, and sits down to write a song. I wish I could do that. I've tried it. It doesn't work. But something will trigger a memory, whether it's a photograph or a place or something, a person, and I'll just start writing that song. And there hasn't been a song that I've written that I felt was too personal to share. And I've written very personal songs, so I hope that that would never happen. What I have found through this experience is that, you know, and I consider myself to be one of the luckiest person I've ever met. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to be exposed to loss, heartbreak, the passing or death of a friend or a family member. And these are all things that we have to deal with. And getting through this thing called life is not easy. And the more shared experiences that we can have about one's effort to get through this thing called life, I think it brings us closer together. And I think that that's a really special thing. And that's been my experience so far. And I've been grateful for that opportunity.
On your new album, the tracks go through a deep range of emotions and situations. Which to you are the most special, the most intimate?
They're all special for their own reason. You know, it's like having children and trying to tell which one of yours is your favorite. You're not supposed to do that. You know, there is one song at the very end of the record that I had to ask permission to put on, and it was a song I wrote for my daughter, and it's called Song for a Daughter. That was just very special because I realized as I was writing it, there's a line in it saying, after I'm long gone, remember you were the one that made the heart in my love last. And I realized I was writing it for when I passed. I wanted her to always know how much she meant to me, even if I've passed away. And so there was something very special about that because it was, I was forced to actually really define in words how much she has meant to me in my life.
Other tracks like Saskatchewan's a very beautiful ballad. What's the story behind that?
You know, a lot of the stories I save for the audience, and the reason why is because the stories are the truth, so I can't change them. But it's about, you know, the passing of of someone, you know, for me, it was my mother. And just what it's like to lose someone and try and put into perspective someone who has meant that much to you over the course of your lifetime. And even as someone gets older and you know that it's eventually going to happen, you never seem to be really prepared for it. And the song really articulates that.
It's such a big step in a way to be expressing yourself on stage in this way compared to your life in film and TV. Do you feel that you wish that you had done this earlier? You say it's such a big release. Is it something you wish you'd discovered earlier?
It's something that I've thought about, but I actually always, I'm a firm believer that things happen when they're supposed to happen. And the truth is, for me, I needed to live a certain portion of my life before I felt I had anything to say that was worth listening to. Having said that, Bob Dylan, David Bowie, the Beatles wrote incredible songs when they were 20. I took a different path, so I'm very comfortable with where things are right now.
And when you first took that step, it must have been quite a sort of brave moment.
It was one of the scariest things in my life. I mean, and I did a play called That Championship Season on Broadway for almost a year. And the last performance was no less nerve-wracking for me than the very first. I have very high expectations for what I want to try and accomplish. And the fear of not accomplishing them is always in me, and it creates a nervous kind of energy that I think I've figured out how to channel. But as an actor, if your hand shakes, just put your hands in your pocket. As a guitar player, you can't do that. And I remember the first show I ever played with my songs, almost 8 or 9 years ago. My hand was shaking so bad that it was bumping on the pickup of the guitar and making a thump sound. And I remember hearing someone in the audience laugh, and it made me so cross that I booked 3 more shows right away just to make sure I could get past that. So it's been a process, but I'm in a place now where it's really one of the most enjoyable forms of expression that I've experienced.
And very appropriate then that the latest single is something
you love. Yeah.
And is that what it's become, a real passion?
For me, it's always been a passion. I've been playing since I was 10 years old. I've been writing music since I was 15. But it was something that I kept very private. And the man who produced both records, a guy named Jude Cole, who's been a lifelong friend, he was the one who urged me to make an album. I was only recording songs to send to publishing companies to see if their artists would be interested in recording them. And I will be forever grateful for him kind of pushing me along because it has been such a rewarding experience. So yeah, I didn't wake up one morning and say, today I'm going to make a record. It was a very gradual process.
And your shows in the UK have been sold out. That must be fantastic to be playing to these audiences.
I'm so grateful. Someone asked me the other day if it bothered me that people would come to a show because they were a fan of 24 or something like that. And I was like, no, I don't care why you come. Thank you so much for showing up and giving us an hour and a half to 2 hours to try and turn you on to the music. I've been kind of overwhelmed in the last 4 years of touring how generous people have been. It's not my normal life experience, and they have been, and I am so grateful for that.
Because country's a difficult genre in the UK. It's not the same as over in America and Canada, where it's hugely popular. So it is growing. But are you finding that people are sort of coming to the music because of you?
This is what I found so amazing. I'm acutely aware of the fact that this is not at the top of the charts or anything that you might hear on radio. And yet people are willing to take time out of their lives and come and have a listen. I'm so impressed by that and again, grateful.
And this is your second album. Mm-hmm. Have you plans for more? Are you already writing songs? Are there things popping into your head as you're going along?
We'll go back to, once we finish the record release here, we'll go back to Nashville. We play the CMA Fest. We'll play a few shows in Texas, and then we'll start recording stuff all through the tour. We've got quite a few songs, actually. Yeah.
And are you still experimenting with sounds, or do you think you've now sort of settled on?
I know what I like, and the sound of this record, and I believe the first record too, is a very organic sound. Whether it was, the band is a band that I have admired for years. The sound of Bob Dylan's record, Nashville Skyline, is a sound that I like a lot. Tom Petty's records, I absolutely loved. And they're very organic. The guitars are real, the organ is real, drums, no computers. And that's a sound that I will constantly kind of be trying to refer back to.
And how does this work with your acting? Do the two complement each other? Or are you just spinning plates constantly?
Just spinning plates. We just finished the 3rd season of Designated Survivor, which will come out in June. And now we've got quite a lot of time to go tour, so that's what we're going to do. I haven't had a day off for a very long time, and this is it's by choice. I would rather spend time with this band and play with this band than I would lay on a beach somewhere and get a tan. So I couldn't be happier, but it requires some juggling, because I love acting. A lot of people have asked me because we take the music thing very seriously, does that mean I'm not going to work as an actor? I'll work as an actor to the death if they let me. So it's one of the great loves of my life. This is just another form of expression that I'm enjoying as well.
And you're finding the experience of touring an enriching one?
Yes, yeah. It's, again, I've been so impressed with the people that I've gotten to meet, the audiences that we've been allowed to play to, and very overwhelmed by the generosity. I think when I started touring, I felt that people might come to see a car wreck, and it was our job not to wreck the car. But that wasn't the case. People that came to the show, they wanted us to be good and they wanted us to do well. And I was really moved by that.